¿Cómo se llama usted?
Roberto León Villa.
Okay.
Robert.
All right. I'm looking at an interim complaint for Roberto Leon Villa. Mr. Villa, this is a time set for your initial appearance. Counsel, I had an opportunity to review the interim complaint. I had several questions about it, didn't really understand it. It was very difficult for me to interpret. The detective who was here under oath contacted the DPS detectives, and based on the information provided to me, I am finding that it does not contain sufficient probable cause. Mr. Poston, you need to make a record?
Bueno, señores licenciados, discúlpeme, el señor León está aquí para su comparecencia inicial. Resulta que aquí, viendo el informe inicial del detective, de la manera que yo lo estoy interpretando, el detective aquí se comunicó con el detective de la agencia estatal, y de lo que yo veo, no veo que haya prueba suficiente para seguir adelante con los cargos. Quisiera comentar algo, señor fiscal. Okay.
No, Your Honor, it would appear he's being held on an ICE hold anyhow.
No, su señoría, parece que lo tienen detenido debido a una orden de retención de parte de migración.
Nice.
For the interpreter, I do apologize. I didn't see that this was, I didn't see that you were on there. I would have spoken in a much shorter sentence, so I apologize.
No worries, Judge. I think I got it also.
I think you did too. Okay. So can you tell Mr. Leon Villa that I dismiss this without prejudice? It can be refiled, but he's being held by Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Muy bien, señor León Villa, el juez va a desestimar los cargos. Sin embargo, usted va a seguir retenido debido a una orden de retención de ICE, pero en el futuro es posible que la fiscalía vuelva a levantar esos cargos.
Okay, thank you, sir. You're done.
Gracias, señor. Ya puede retirarse.
O sea, nomás van a tener detenido por la orden de ICE que tengo. La orden.
Can you tell him to step off, Mr. Interpreter?
He's figuring it out.
Okay, great. Thanks, Thea. Okay, who do we have next? Yes, and Summer Donahue.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Joe Redmond speaking. We're going to do Salenza burial, number 2 in house in felonies last. See that on the chair.
Okay.
Miss that on that chair.
Did you guys get that? I get too much feedback. Who's going last? I didn't quite get that.
Oh,
Okay. Hi, are you Summer Donahue?
yes, sir.
Okay, good evening, Ms. Donahue. This is the time set for your initial appearance on a couple of warrants, and then initial appearance and arraignment on some city court matters. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. As for the warrants, I'm looking at, looks like warrants out of Fountain Hills for misdemeanor theft, shoplifting, and misdemeanor criminal defacing or damaging property.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, well, it was just
Hold on. Remember I said you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Always a good idea to remain silent, okay? I'll let
sorry.
you, no, don't be sorry. I'm sure you're freaked out and confused. Don't worry about it. Okay.
I just work really hard.
Okay. What I'm going to do on these is I'm going to release you on your promise to appear. And it's going to be in, hold on one second. I have a question for the clerk. Okay. These are out of Fountain Hills Municipal Court up in, that's up, you know, north, a little bit north of northern suburb of Phoenix, if I remember. Anyway, I'm going to release you on your promise to appear at the next hearing on January 6, 2025 at 8 a.m. If you don't appear, warrants will issue and you'll be spending time in our jail or up in Maricopa County or somewhere in between or somewhere else. So you have to appear. The conditions are no alcohol or illegal drugs. Do not return to the incident location where the alleged defacing or shoplifting occurred, and have no contact with the victim businesses or owners of those properties. Can you follow those rules?
Yes, I can.
Okay, now I got to deal with the Tucson City Court stuff. What I'm going to do is it's called an arraignment. Oh, I meant to ask you, I see we have a general delivery address for you. Is there anything better? Do you have anything better than that?
I don't have any type of, well, I had a paper that had my information that I got taken from me, I guess, that I found.
Okay, hold on.
But I don't know if I still have it.
Hold on. It's an easy question. Do you have an address you can tell me or no?
No, I don't have a house. I don't have a house or a phone or.
That's no,
nothing.
all you gotta do is say no. Hold on, I have a question for the other clerk on this. Reckless.
I don't even have food, no water, not even money in my pocket. Not even a shower.
Hold on, please stop talking. I'm having a hard time hearing.
I'm British. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, but it says.
Owen 1001.
Okay, out of Tucson City Court, you're charged with criminal trespass in the 3rd degree, possession of drug paraphernalia, and reckless burning. I'm not finding there is any probable cause statement on the reckless burning, so I'm not going to just stop talking. I'm going to release you on that. As for the criminal trespass in the 3rd degree, I do think, based on the information provided, that some bond is necessary. I'm going to order bond in the amount of $500 cash or secured. Should you post bond, possess or consume no alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs, possess no firearms, surrender any that you have, no contact at all with the victim of the criminal trespass, and do not go to the incident location. I'm going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. Your next hearing will be a video review hearing on December 27, 2024 at 1:45. Getting back to the arraignment. Like I said, you're charged with criminal trespass, 3rd degree, and drug paraphernalia possession. You're presumed innocent of all those charges. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty and denials of all allegations have been filed against you. If you post bond or are released later on by the judge and you don't appear, the case could go to trial even if you weren't there. If you were found guilty, and we couldn't the judge couldn't sentence you within 90 days, you'd lose your rights on appeal. Okay, yeah, I appointed you a lawyer. Your lawyer will come over and talk to you and tell you what happens next. Thank you.
Oh, can I tell you one last thing?
You're really,
There's one more person in there that I need. I need him with me. They're done with him.
Lawyer?
it's very good.
Hi, are you Jamie Jennings?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Miss Jennings. This is the time set for, let's see what we got here. Stand by, please. This is the time set for your initial appearance. Looks like you have some warrants out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have a misdemeanor matter in Marana City Court. I'm going to deal with the Tucson City Court. Well, actually, let me find the Marana Court first. Yeah, you've been charged in Marana Court with possession of drug paraphernalia. I see we have an address on North Castro Avenue. Is that still a good address, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
230?
Yeah, you don't need to say it. Anyway, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. What I'm going to do tonight, Ms. Jennings, is I'm going to set release conditions and tell you when your next hearings are. Because we have two different courts, we got Marana and Tucson City Court. I'm going to give you two different dates. I'm going to give you all, you're going to get all this in writing, so I'm going to say it fast, so don't worry if you don't catch it right off the bat. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about the Tucson City Court cases. Looks like you got 3 different warrants. You know, you got to show up for these things. What'll happen is you don't say anything. You'll just keep getting picked up and you'll keep spending time in jail. You might end up spending more time in jail than you would if you just went and dealt with it. So I'm going to give you one more chance to deal with these. All right. Okay. I'm going to release you on your promise to appear at the next court date. And again, you're going to get this in writing. This is Tucson City Court. It's going to be on January 22, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. in front of Judge Hale. You need to appear. If you don't appear, warrants were issued for your arrest and you're sitting in jail again. It's going to be the pretrial hearing, I believe. I'm going to give you some rules I need you to follow, Ms. Jennings. Do not possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs. Do not possess any firearms or weapons and surrender any that you have. No contact with the alleged victims of the assault and disorderly conduct and the criminal trespass, and do not return to the incident locations. Again, I'm going to give you all this in writing. Can you follow those rules for the city court matters? Okay, good. Let me talk to you about the Marana Court matter. What I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to release you on your promise to appear on this one as well. It's going to be in Marana City Court on a different day and time. Again, you'll get it, so no excuses for not showing up, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let me see it. I'm going to order you released on your promise to appear at this hearing and at the next hearing and all future hearings. The next hearing is going to be in Marana City Court on January 15, 2025 at 10 a.m. You got to make sure you appear. Again, if you don't, more warrants and more trouble. My conditions are going to include no alcohol or illegal drugs. Can you follow those rules?
Yes, sir.
Okay, again, you're going to get all this in writing. Make sure you show up. You'll be released later on, but if you blow this off, you're just going to be sitting in jail again, okay?
Okay.
Take care of yourself, Miss Jennings. Oh, what am I doing?
Sure.
Is the thing with pictures? I got it.
What's it got right here? Not fish. Right there.
Hi, are you Isidore Rohas?
No, sir.
Sorry. Who are you?
Stacia Stewart?
I apologize. Wasn't wearing my glasses. I didn't look up.
No, we're sorry, we went out of order. That's our fault.
That's all right.
Us.
Not sorry, Miss Stewart. Let me pull this. No, that's fine. Wait, I can do her. I can do Miss Stewart. All right, stand by a minute, Miss Stewart. I'll be right with you, okay?
Sure.
Appreciate your patience.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ms. Stewart, good evening. We're here for initial appearance. You've been charged out of Pima County Justice Court with 1 count of criminal trespass in second degree, 1 count of shoplifting. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I am finding the complaint does have sufficient probable cause to go forward. What I'm going to do, Ms. Stewart, is I'm going to set release conditions, and then I'm going to tell you when your next hearing is. Pull up your case, if you give me a moment. All right, what I'm going to do, ma'am, is I'm going to release you on your promise to appear at the next court hearing, which will be on January 17. And you can get this in writing, so don't worry if you miss anything. You're going to get it in writing. January 17, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. in Pima County Justice Court. That'll be your arraignment in front of Judge Cornejo. You need to appear. If you don't appear, more warrants issue and you're back over at the jail. And I'm sure that's not something you want to deal with. It'll be your arraignment. I'm going to give you some rules, ma'am. I need you to follow. No alcohol or illegal drugs while on release. Do not have any contact with any Walmart store. Do not go to the incident location. Can you follow those rules, ma'am?
Absolutely.
Okay, you're going to get all this in writing. You'll be released in a little while. Make sure you appear at that hearing on January 17, 2025. All right. If you don't, things just get worse rather than better.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Thank
ma'am. Thank you. Take care.
You too.
Rohas. What's the done with it?
Good evening. You are Isidore Rohas.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good evening. This is a time set for your initial appearance. You have several warrants, both out of South Tucson City Court, South Tucson Municipal Court, excuse me, and Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Mr. Rohas, I see we have an address on West 30th Street. Is that still a good address?
511 was, yeah, 30th Street. Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right. What I'm going to do is set release conditions and tell you when your next hearing is. Given repetitive offenses of criminal trespass, repetitive warrants, and then in both courts, given that, I do think some bond is warranted. I'm going to order bond on the Tucson, South Tucson City Court matters in the amount of $1,000 cash or secured. Should you post bond, you would do no alcohol or illegal drugs, no contact with the property owners of the criminal trespass, and do not return to the location of those trespasses. Your next hearing will be tomorrow in Tucson City Court, December 19, 2024 at 10 a.m. If you don't post bond, you'll be made available to that judge down there by way of video. You're going to get this in writing, so you don't have to memorize it. You will get it in writing. Okay, let me finish off with the Tucson City matters. What I'm going to do on these, sir, is I'm going to order you released on these. You only have 2, so I'm going to release you on these. Order no possess or consume no alcohol beverages or illegal drugs. Do not have any contact with the victim business owners, property owners, and do not go to the incident locations. Your next hearing will be a pretrial on January 21, 2025 at 2:30 p.m. All right, so if you are between tomorrow and January 21, 2025, you're released by the South Tucson Municipal Court judge. You got to make sure you appear on your own in Tucson City Court, okay?
Tomorrow, right?
Yeah, you're going in front of the South Tucson judge tomorrow. And the city court judge, that won't be until January, but you may be released between now and then. Okay, thank you, sir. You're excused.
Thank you.
Hello, are you Michael Dapper?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Dapper. Give me one moment, if you would, please. Good evening, Mr. Dapper. This is the time set for your initial appearance and arraignment on matters at a Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You've been charged in Tucson City Court with misdemeanor assault, misdemeanor disorderly conduct, misdemeanor criminal trespass in the 3rd degree, and misdemeanor theft/shoplifting. I am finding sufficient probable cause exists based on the information provided to me. Given the information provided, I do think some bond is warranted.
I'm on company support, sir.
Okay, be quiet, please. I'm
Um,
gonna order bond in the amount of $1,500 cash or secured. Should you post bond, you to possess or consume no alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs, possess no firearms or weapons, surrender any that you do have, no contact with the victim individuals or business owners, no returning to the incident location. I will appoint the city public defender's office to represent you in this matter. Your next hearing is a video review hearing on December 27, 2024 at 1:45 p.m. in front of Judge Maldonado. If you post bond,
Okay.
you need to be there. If you don't post bond, you'll be transported by way of video hearing, I believe.
All right.
You get all this in writing, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Hi, are you Louis Henkin?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good evening, Mr. Henkin. This is the time set for your initial appearance and arraignment. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. In your case, I have a Tucson City Court matter. You've been charged with 1 count of drug paraphernalia. You're presumed innocent of all those charges. I'll enter a plea of not guilty and denials of all allegations that have been filed against you in this matter. On this matter, I am going to order that you be released on your promise to appear at all future court dates. I'm going to order that you possess or consume no alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs. You're going to get this in writing, so don't worry if you don't catch it right off the bat. Your next hearing will be on January 21, 2025 in Tucson City Court. It will be a pretrial hearing in front of Judge Cranshaw. If you don't appear, a warrant would issue. And also, if you don't appear and a warrant issues, the case could go to trial even if you weren't there. And if you were found guilty and you couldn't be tracked down and sentenced within 90 days of being found guilty, you'd lose all your rights on appeal, which would be a big loss. So make sure you make that hearing, okay, Mr. Rankin?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you take care.
Thank you.
You're excused. Good evening. Are you Tony Maldonado?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Maldonado. Just give me one moment, if you would, please.
Of course.
Okay, Mr. Maldonado. This is the time set for your initial appearance and arraignment out of a Tucson City Court matter. You've been charged with 1 count of misdemeanor assault, domestic violence. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You're presumed innocent of all those charges, of that charge. I'll enter a plea of not guilty and denial of the allegation of domestic violence that's been filed against you. What I'm going to do is set release conditions and tell you when your next hearing is. I'm going to release you on your promise to appear at all future court hearings. Release you on your signature. We don't have any information from the alleged victim, Ms. Flores, at this time. As a consequence, I'm going to order at this time no contact with the victim and do not go to the victim's residence. Do you live at that residence?
It's my apartment, yeah.
Does she live there too?
She's on the lease, yes.
Okay. Well, you're gonna have to find somewhere else to go until you get in front of a judge who can address that. You may return one time with law enforcement to retrieve personal belongings. You have to have law enforcement with you. You to commit no acts of domestic violence. Possess, consume no alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs. Your next hearing will be in front of Judge Wendy Million in Tucson City Court on January 21, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. You need to appear. If you don't appear at that hearing or any future hearings, the case, a warrant would issue and the case would go to trial, could go to trial in your app. If that happened and you were found guilty and you couldn't be sentenced within 90 days, you'd lose your rights on appeal. Okay?
Sure.
Okay, take care.
Understood.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Good evening. Are you, is it Abrian or Brian?
Abraham, Your Honor.
Abrian Painter. Good evening. You're Abrian Painter?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Painter. This is the time set for your initial appearance and arraignment in Tucson City Court. You've been charged with 2 misdemeanors, one assault, the other criminal defacing or damaging property, both with domestic violence allegations. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty. You're presumed innocent of those charges. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty and denials of all allegations that have been filed against you. What I'm going to do is set release conditions and tell you when your next hearing is. You will get this in writing. I say it fast, so don't worry, you'll get it in writing, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to release you on your on your promise to appear, basically release you on your own recognizance.
Yes, sir.
I need you to follow some rules for me, if you would. You're to
Yes, sir.
possess or consume no alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs, commit no acts of domestic violence, possess no firearms or weapons, and surrender any firearms that you have. You're to have no contact with Gracia Campos, and you're not to go to the incident location. You live at a different location, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your next hearing is going to be on January 21, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. in Tucson City Court in front of Judge Wendy Million. It's very important, Mr. Painter, that you make that hearing and any future hearings that are set. If you don't, a warrant would issue for your arrest and the case could go to trial in your absence. If that happened and you couldn't be, and you're found guilty and the judge we couldn't track you down and sentence you within 90 days, you'd lose your rights on appeal. You're going to get
Okay.
you're going to get all this in writing, okay? You'll be released a little later on tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
What? Go ahead. You had a question?
Yeah, so I can still be convicted, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, all I did was release you on your promise to appear at the next hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's still out there. Yeah, you've been charged. The charges are going forward, so that's why you got to make sure you appear, all right?
Okay.
Okay, you take care, sir.
You got it.
Good evening. Are you Tyler Abara?
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Abara. This is the time set for your initial appearance and arraignment for charges out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You've been charged with the following misdemeanors: assault, unlawful imprisonment, criminal defacing or damaging of property, and disorderly conduct. You're presumed innocent of all those charges. I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty and denials of all allegations have been filed against you. What I'm going to do tonight, Mr. Abara, is I'm going to set release conditions and tell you when your next hearing is. Based on the information I've been provided, I'm going to release you on your promise to appear at all future hearings in this matter. So release you on your signature. I do have some conditions that you need to follow or you'll find yourself in more trouble. You're to possess or consume no alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs, commit no act of domestic violence. You're to possess no firearms and surrender any that you might have. The information provided to me by pretrial services indicates that the alleged victim in the matter does not oppose contact and does not oppose you returning to the residence. So I'm not going to put any restrictions on that. I will tell you, if things get hot, just leave. All right. Because if things get hot and a call gets made, the police show up, they'll pull up this and guess who they're going to arrest again. All right. So you just got to be real smart and real careful. Okay. Now listen, if you don't appear at that, you got to appear at those hearings. Okay. Okay. You're going to get all this in writing. Good luck, Mr. Abara. Take care of yourself. Oh, there's the window.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. We have Mr. Addison, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, the new person.
Yeah.
Unfair, do you waive me referencing the charges?
Yes, Your Honor. And if I just have a moment to speak with Mr. Addison before we get started.
All right. Sorry, Your Honor.
No worries. Okay, good evening. You are James Addison.
Yes, sir.
Evening, Mr. Addison. This is the time set for your initial appearance. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to set release conditions. I'm going to tell you when your next court hearing is. I'll hear from a representative from the prosecutor's office. I'll hear from the lawyer next to you from the public defender's office. And then I'll tell you what's what. Okay, Mr. Poston, looks like the state's recommending $200,000.
Yes, Your Honor. Without going into detail for obvious reasons, these charges are absolutely abhorrent. This person is a danger to the specific demographic globally, and neither his age or any other condition changes that fact. $200,000.
Thank you. Ms. Catalisa.
Your Honor, Mr. Addison was assessed at a level 1. The pretrial report indicates that this is someone who would not fail to report to his court hearings. He is 74 years old. We are asking the court to consider that. And there are no children at the home. I had a chance to speak with Mr. Addison. He takes care of his partner, who is deaf and disabled and desperately needs Mr. Addison home. He is retired and a longtime resident with a verifiable address, and he has no prior convictions. At this time, these are allegations, and for all of those reasons, we are asking the court to consider trial release. If the court is inclined to set a bond, we would ask that it be a low bond and no more than $10,000.
Thank you, counsel. I am going to set bond in the amount of $10,000 cash or secured. Should the defendant post bond, he shall follow the following conditions. Monitoring and treatment is directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, surrender any that he had. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent him. Additional conditions, no contact with minor children and no non-work related computer use. The next hearing will be the preliminary hearing on January 7th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. Mr. Addison, should you post bond, it's very important you keep in touch with your assigned public defender and with the pretrial services representative. That January 7th, 2025 date will likely change. And if it changes, you're going to have to be somewhere. If not, a warrant would issue. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
One more. Yeah. Yeah, but on the other.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. My name is Abara. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Hey, I apologize. My son Tyler Abara was just up before this other gentleman.
Oh.
I didn't hear all of the charges because my phone started doing, that thinking thing.
Okay.
I didn't hear the charges and release. Would you be able to tell it to me one more time?
Yeah.
I can wait till you.
Okay, hold on. Stop talking. Hold on. We can't talk over each other. And I'm not being rude. This thing, the speaker here just blows me away. So, okay. What I did is I released Tyler Abara on his promise to appear at the next court hearing. And because the alleged victim had indicated to pretrial services that she had no objection to contact him returning, I did not put any restrictions. I did say no guns or weapons, surrender any that he has, no alcohol or illegal drugs, and commit no acts of domestic violence. And I set the next hearing, I believe it was for January 21st, 2025. That would be in front of Judge Wendy Million, and I believe it's at 1:30. And that's in Tucson City Court, okay?
January 21st.
Yes, ma'am.
City Court. Okay. I'm the victim, sir. It was me.
Oh.
So the problem is that we live together, and I don't have any issues with him returning and staying here or getting his things and moving whatever he wants to do. I just didn't want that restriction so that he would get in trouble for getting his things or whatever he wants to do.
Okay, time out.
I know my son made a mistake.
Time out. Stop talking, please. I know you're nervous. All right. Yeah, I said he can come back. I really have to move on, ma'am, okay? I'm sorry that I didn't realize you were there for Mr. Abara, but I really have to move on. But yeah, he's going to be released later on tonight,
Okay,
and he can return and have contact, okay? You take care.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, next up is you are Eric Sidos, yes?
Yes, sir.
Hello, Mr. Sidos. Be right with you. Sorry about the delay. Okay. Mr. Sidos, this is a time set for your initial appearance in Pima County Justice Court for an interim complaint alleging organized retail theft, burglary in the third degree, and possession of paraphernalia. And also, you have a drug paraphernalia warrant out of Tucson City Court. I'm going to handle the felony charges first. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I'll hear first from the prosecutor's office, then I'll hear from the public defender sitting next to you, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do on both cases. Okay, Mr. Poston, the state's recommending $5,000 cash secured, yes?
Yes, Your Honor. State submits on the written record.
Very well. Ms. Catalita.
Your Honor, this is a level 2 nonviolent event. He is not high on the NCA scale. He has no priors. He is a longtime resident, although he is currently homeless and unemployed and would be unable to make any bond. For those reasons, we are asking for pretrial release. However, if the court is inclined to set a bond, we would just ask that it be no more than $1,000.
Thank you, counsel. I'm going to set bond in this matter, $1,500 cash secured. Should the defendant post bond, he shall be subject to pretrial services supervision. Conditions include no contact with the alleged victim, don't go to the incident location, no alcohol or illegal drugs, monitoring and treatment is directed by pretrial services, no firearms or weapons, surrender any that he does have. I will appoint the public defender's office. The next hearing will be the preliminary hearing on December 30, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Mr. Sidos, if you post bond or otherwise release between now and then, it's important that you keep in touch with pretrial services and your lawyer at the public defender's office because that date will likely change. I'm also going to deal with the Tucson City drug paraphernalia matter. On this one, I'm going to release you on your promise to appear. Is this one you changed, Jim?
Yeah. So I changed. I pushed the date out.
Ah, okay. Okay. What I'm going to do is set this matter for a video review hearing on January 14, 2025, 1:45 p.m. in front of Judge Elisa Cerrillo. Should you post bond or be released, I'm sorry, I'm releasing you on your promise to appear. Should you be released on the other matter, and you get out on this one as well, possess or consume no alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs. You're going to get this in writing. And that will be your pretrial hearing. Okay, make sure you keep in touch with your lawyer or pretrial services if you do post bond, okay? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Fu. So this.
Give me 1 second. To ask you your name. I'm scheduling treatment for today. Reversal.
Just so you know, I can hear everything you're saying, so.
Oh,
Okay.
hi.
Can you tell me your name? I don't know if we're in order or not.
Caroline Antoinette Foote.
Oh, there you are. Okay, thank you, Ms. Foote. I'll be right with you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Foote, this is the time set for your initial appearance. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We have several things going on with you tonight. We have new charges. We have old charges in the form of warrants in, let's see, where are we from? We have Sarita Municipal Court. We have Pima County Consolidated Court. 2 out of Sarita, looks like 2 warrants. 1 out of Pima County Consolidated Justice Court. 1 warrant out of Tucson City Court. And like I said, the new charge of unlawful failure to return rented or leased property, and also possession of drug paraphernalia. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I'm going to set release conditions on all these matters. I'll hear from the state, a representative from the prosecutor's office. The lady next to you is a very experienced public defender. I'll hear from her. Then I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Okay, Mr. Poston from the state, looks like on the failure to return rental property, you're asking for $5,000 cash and secured, yes?
Your Honor, state amends that to 2,500, notes that the other comments were for another case, but I would note that this defendant is a 6 out of 6 and has a fairly extensive record to include drugs, financial fraud, as well as quite a bit of time spent on probation.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Catalizza, your thoughts?
One moment.
Keep that.
All right, Your Honor. Mrs. Foote is 53 years old. I'm asking the court 55. I don't know why pre-trial had something different. I am asking the court to consider her age and the fact that she is a longtime resident. She maintains employment, which is quite important. And to clarify a bit what the state has shared, her last prior was in 2014, and she did complete probation in 2017. So she seems to have stayed out of trouble generally. As you heard earlier, she does have intentions to go to treatment this Friday. She indicates that she's going to River Source. And so for those reasons, I am asking for pretrial release. However, if the court is inclined to set bond, I would just ask for a low bond.
Very well. Thank you, counsel. Okay, so on the, let me make sure I got this right. On the new matter, that's a failure to return leased property. I think given her track record, some bond is necessary. I'm going to set bond the amount of $2,000 cash is secured. Should Ms. Foote post bond on this matter. Pretrial services supervision to include monitoring and treatment is directed by pretrial services. No alcohol, illegal drugs, no driving without a valid license, no firearms or weapons, surrender any that she has. No contact with the alleged victim business. Do not return to the incident location. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent Ms. Foote in this matter. The next hearing will be the preliminary hearing on December 30, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. That date will likely change, Ms. Foote. So if you do post bond or are subsequently released, you need to appear, you need to keep in touch with your public defender and your pretrial services person.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
May I speak?
No.
Oh,
No. Be quiet. I'm talking.
okay. I apologize, Your Honor.
Oh, this isn't a time for you to speak. I'm not being rude. I'm protecting your rights because I'm not going to change my mind on that hold. Okay. You just got too many warrants here, ma'am. All right. There's also a warrant for, hold on a second. There's also a warrant for, looks like drug paraphernalia. Drug paraphernalia out of Sarita. And also theft, shoplifting out of Sarita. What I am going to do on these ones, I'm going to release Ms. Foote on her promise to appear. No alcohol, illegal drugs. Do not return to the incident location. No contact with the victim business. And the next hearing is the criminal arraignment. Wait a minute. Why is this in? Can you tell why is this in Superior Court? The drug paraphernalia, is that a warrant? Oh, it's this one. Never mind. Is it the DUI? What's that? Oh, a warrant. Okay, I got the new one. I don't recognize what's 2612. Stand by, please. You see which one I'm looking at? It's Pima County Justice Court. Yeah, okay, I have, it's this one, it's Sarita. It's Sarita, I think. What's that?
Your Honor, this case ending in 208.
Yeah. Okay,
That will be a salary warrant.
okay, well, there are two of them out of Sarita. Because I have one right here for shoplifting.
And the case ending in 105 is also from Sawanita.
Yeah. I think I just did that one. Okay, so I'm gonna put the conditions and you'll change it from Superior Court to Sarita? Yeah, I won't do it. On this one, I'm gonna also release you on your promise to appear. Again, no contact with victim business. Do not go to the incident location. No alcohol or illegal drugs. So is that date right? December 26th? Yeah. Out. So what should I put? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not tracking. Are you going to delete this whole thing? Okay, so I'm just gonna. Okay, all right. So that was just something we don't have to worry about. Okay. So we do have a DUI out of Pima County Justice Court. We do have a warrant for DUI. That's from 2019. All right, I'm also dealing with a 2019 offense date, a warrant for DUI. I'm going to set bond in this matter, $2,500 cash is secured. If you post bond, no alcohol, illegal drugs, do not drive without a valid license. I'm going to appoint attorney Doug Taylor to represent you in this matter. Your next hearing will be the case management. It's tomorrow at Pima County Justice Court at 1 p.m. You'll be transported, I'm assuming, to a video conference room, and Mr. Taylor will represent you in that matter. We're still not done. Tucson City Court matters. Tucson City Court matters as the trespassing and shoplifting warrants. I think I already did it. Let me deal with Tucson City. On this one, I am going to release you on your promise to appear. So if you post bond, you have to make sure you make it over to Tucson City Court with Judge Blue on January 7, 2025 at 10 a.m. You're going to get all this in writing, ma'am. Conditions include: do not possess or consume alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs, possess no firearms, surrender any that you have, no contact of any kind with the victim business, do not go to the incident location. Okay. Stand by, please. We got to make sure we have all your stuff covered here. I already did one for Sarita. There would just be one, right?
Yeah, there was
Okay, did you send it back to me for signature for review? Oh, there it is. Okay, thank you. Even though it says felonies, right? Okay, yeah, and on the Sarita court matters, warrants, I am going to release you on your promise to appear. Conditions are no alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, surrender any that you do have, no contact with the alleged victim business, do not go to the incident location. The next hearing is on January 7, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. Okay, you're gonna get all this in writing. I know that was a lot, but you got a lot going on here, ma'am, so. Okay, thank you. Your excuse. That was messy. Okay. Hi, are you Mr. Salenza?
No, I'm Mr. Hmark.
I think Salenza is going last, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Was that the name you said? Thanks. Okay, I didn't. Speaker's not great here. Okay, good evening, Mr. Hmark. This is a time set for your initial appearance. What do we have here? We have some warrants a warrant at a Tucson City Court for criminal trespass in the 3rd degree and theft, shoplifting. Those are misdemeanors. New charges of possession of narcotic drug and possession of a dangerous drug. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I'll hear first from the state, and then I'll hear from the lady next to you from the public defender's office. I'll tell you your release conditions. And I'll tell you when your next hearing is. Okay, Mr. Poston.
Your Honor, I sent a supplemental one. The state's asked me for a $5,000 bond on this matter based on the fact the defendant is a 5 out of 5 and has quite a few charges racked up. State has concerns about the defendant's willingness or ability to show at court when ordered to do so.
Okay. Ms. Godlitza.
Your Honor, this was a non-violent and what appears to be from the interim complaint, an unfortunate event. It arose out of an eviction proceeding. I would just state that he is 39 years old and a lifelong resident, and it appears that he does have a place to stay, but is currently unemployed. I would just emphasize that these are simple possession charges. So for those reasons, I am asking for a pretrial release. I do believe that he qualifies for smart court. If the court is inclined to set a bond, I would just ask for a low bond, again, given that these are simple possession charges.
Thank you. I think given the history that some bond is necessary to ensure appearance. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500 cash secured. Should defendant post bond, pretrial services, monitoring, treatment, and directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, surrender any that he does have. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent Mr. Hmark in this matter. I'm going to enroll Mr. Hmark in a smart hearing program. Mr. Hmark, it's a program where you go and work with some judges, and if you do things right, you can get your charges reduced, sometimes even dismissed, and we get you some help for your drug problem. That's going to, the smart hearing is going to be on December 26, 2024 at 9 a.m. Because I'm not releasing him on his to pretrial services, I'm going to keep the preliminary hearing date of 12/30/2024 at 1:30 p.m. Okay, so that one's done. Now, we're still not done with you though, unfortunately, Mr. Hmark. We have these warrants out of Tucson City Court. On these, I am going to release you on your promise to appear. Your next hearing will be on January 15, 2025 at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Kate Verena. That will be the pretrial hearing. Conditions shall include possess or consume no alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs, no contact of any kind with the victim businesses and property owners, and do not return to the incident locations. You're going to get all this in writing, Mr. Hmark. I know I said a lot. You'll get it all in writing. And I did appoint you a public defender on the drug matter. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
My bad. Sorry about that. Okay. Hi, are you Mary Martinez?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Ms. Martinez. This is the time set for your initial appearance. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Looks like there's an interim complaint alleging from the Tucson Police Department 1 count of arson of property and 1 count of arson of a structure. All I'm going to do tonight, ma'am, is set release conditions and let you know when your next hearing is. I'm going to hear from a representative from the state, and then I'm going to hear from the lady next to you from the public defender's office, and I'm going to tell you what the release conditions are, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Poston, $25,000. Is that right?
Your Honor, on one occasion, the defendant poured gasoline on the victim's front wall and driveway and lit it aflame. And 8 days later, the defendant then threw a rock through the victim's windshield of his vehicle, poured gasoline on the hood of his vehicle, and lit it on fire. It is the state's position that these are very, very violent and dangerous offenses. This individual has proved herself to be a continual risk to the victim, and given the charges, flight is a concern and mandatory prison may be a factor. $25,000.
Thank you. Ms. Guadalupe, your thoughts?
Your Honor, Mrs. Martinez is 58 years old. She was assessed by pretrial at a level 1. She has no prior convictions. The alleged events produced no injuries to the alleged victim. She is low on the NCA and FTA scales. She is a lifelong resident. She has had the same address for 30 years. I dispute the state's claim that she's a flight risk. She is currently unemployed, but given everything that I've shared with the court this evening, I am asking for a pretrial release with a strong no contact order. Or if the court is inclined to set a bond, I just ask for a low bond, and I would suggest the amount of $5,000.
Thank you, counsel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set bond the amount of $5,000 cash as secured. Should the defendant post bond pretrial services supervision, monitoring, and treatment is directed by pretrial services. No alcohol, illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, surrender any firearms that she does have. No contact with the alleged victim, David Howard. Do not return to the incident location. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent Ms. Martinez in this matter. The next hearing is a preliminary hearing set for December 30, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. Ma'am, if you post bond or otherwise release, it's important you keep in touch with your assigned public defender and pretrial services, because that preliminary hearing date will very likely change. You're going to get all this in writing. Thank you. Hi, are you Jared Sulkowitz?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Sulkowitz. This is the time set for your initial appearance. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We're here on two matters. There's a excuse me, a felony. Hold on. A felony warrant out of Pima County Superior Court for 2 counts of misconduct involving weapons, dangerous drug violation, narcotic drug possession for sale, and drug paraphernalia. And then we got a new matter of possession of drug paraphernalia and misconduct involving weapons. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. What I'm going to do tonight, Mr. Sulkowitz, is I'm going to set release conditions, and then I will tell you when your next hearing is. Okay, Mr. Poston, state's requesting $10,000 on each consecutive. Neil, are you there?
Neil, you're muted.
That is correct, Your Honor. In the one case, the defendant was found by police at the controls of his vehicle in a drug knot in a parked vehicle in possession of 500 to 600 M30s. He also had a pistol on his person. Your Honor, this person is a prohibited possessor. During a search of the vehicle, almost over 1.7 grams of methamphetamine were found, as well as paraphernalia. Another firearm was also discovered in the vehicle's glove box. Again, this person is a prohibited possessor. In the other case, Your Honor, he was apprehended and detained while seen by passersby stalking or peeping into other people's yards. And when the police made contact with this person, he again had a pistol. He denied it. That in and of itself is misconduct. Your Honor, I can't emphasize enough, this person is a prohibited possessor, yet does not seem to get that message. He is a danger. He is not permitted by law to have any firearms, and he still keeps getting firearms.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Guadalupe.
Your Honor, Mr. Sulkowitz has lived in Tucson for some time. He currently is homeless, but maintains some work. Pretrial Services was able to get in contact with a friend who was willing to take him in. He does not have a long list of priors, and he seemed to be out of trouble for some time. I understand the allegations here and the failure to appear in the indicted case. I'm just asking for a concurrent bond at the state's ask.
Okay, I think the state's request is actually a little low, Neil. Hopefully you don't take that the wrong way. I think Mr.
Not at all.
Sulkowitz is, yeah, I think he does represent a significant flight risk and a danger. On the On the warrant matter, I'm going to set bond the amount of $25,000 cash as secured should the defendant post bond pretrial services, supervision, monitoring, and treatment as directed. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, surrender any that he does have. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent Mr. Selkowitz. The next hearing will be the criminal arraignment on December 26, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. So that's on the warrant matter. On the newer matter, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $25,000 cash or secured. I will run it concurrent with the others. I'm still a little high, I think, higher than state's request, but I do think it's warranted. Same conditions, cash or secured, pretrial services, supervision if bond is posted, no alcohol, illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, surrender any that he has. Monitoring and treatment is directed by pretrial services. I will appoint the public defender's office to represent Mr. Selkowitz. The next hearing is on December 30, 2024 at 1:30 p.m., the preliminary hearing. Mr. Selkowitz, if you post bond, it's important you keep in touch with the public defender's office and pretrial services because that preliminary hearing date will likely change. Okay, thank you. Your excuse. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I got a city case. Stand by. Oh, more. All right. Okay. Also, on the city court matters, I am going to set bond the amount of $1,000 cash and secured, given the likelihood of failing to appear. The next hearing will be a video review hearing on December 27, 2024 in front of Judge Kate Varena, the pretrial conference, I believe. Conditions: if he does post bond, possess or consume no alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs, possess no firearms or weapons, surrender any that he does have, no contact with the alleged victims, don't go to the incident location. I will appoint the city public defender's office to represent Mr. Selkowitz in this matter as well. Now we're done. Thank you.
Number 27th hearing.
1:45.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Selkowitz, you're excused. Thank you, sir. Good evening. You are Joseph Trinsky?
Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Trinsky. This time set for your initial appearance. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We're hearing a couple matters. First, felony charges at a Pima County Justice Court for theft, criminal damage, and possession of burglary tools. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We also have some city court warrants I need to deal with. I'll hear first from the state, and then I'll hear from the public defender, the young lady sitting next to you, and then I'll tell you what the conditions of release are and when your next hearings are. Okay, Mr. Poston, $7,500 cash secured on the felonies, yes?
Yes, Your Honor. That's only because it's only at that level because the defendant already is a probation violation held without bond from adult probation. He tore 15 pounds of copper out of an electrical box at what seems to be a city park, causing an area-wide blackout. This would be a higher number, but for the fact that he's being held without bond on by probation.
Very well. Thank you very much. Ms. Catalisa.
Your Honor, given the hold, I'm just asking the court to consider his age. He doesn't have a lengthy history here. I'm just asking for $2,000 given the hold.
One moment, please. Excuse me. Okay. On the felony matter, I do think the requested bond amount by the state makes sense. I'm going to set bond the amount of $7,500 cash as secured, pretrial services, supervision if released, including monitoring and treatment as directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, surrender any that he does have, do not return to the incident location. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, Mr. Trinsky. Your next hearing is a preliminary hearing on December 30, 2024, at 1:30 p.m. If you are released on this one and on the probation hold, you have to make sure you appear I'm sorry, keep in touch with pretrial services and your lawyer because that date will likely change. You are going to get this in writing, sir. Also, while I have you, I need to deal with these Tucson City Court warrants. You have warrants for criminal trespass, 2 for drug paraphernalia, 1 for shoplifting, and 1 for being in parks after they've been closed. What I'm going to do on these matters is I'm going to release you on your promise to appear at the next court hearing, which would be on January 27, 2025 at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Maldonado in Tucson City Court. It will be the pretrial hearing. Conditions include possess or consume no alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs, possess no firearms, surrender any that you have, no contact of any kind with the victim business, and do not return to the incident location. And I tell you, that's January 27, 2025 at 9 a.m.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sir, you're excused. And then I'm taking Delgado over to tomorrow morning. Is that right? Yes. Okay, thanks. That was, they told us right off the bat. I just forgot to do it.
Are there? Yes, you can sit down here. Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. Are you? Is it
Cairo Salenza?
Okay, hold on. Let me do the talking. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
You're Cairo Salenza, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Salenza. And don't worry, you're not off the bad start. Just it's better if I do more of the talking. Anyway.
Yes, sir.
This is the time set for your interim. I'm sorry, for your initial appearance. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You've been charged with a looks like a class 5 felony, inhaling a vapor releasing substance containing a toxic substance. What I'm going to do tonight, Mr. Salenza, is set release conditions and let you know when your next hearing is. Okay. I'll first hear. I'll first hear from the prosecutor's office, and I'll hear from that lady sitting next to you. She's a public defender, and then I'll tell you what's what. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor.
You bet. Okay.
Are we done?
No. Mr. Poston,
Okay.
Mr. Poston, your thought.
I didn't hear a word you said.
No, you. Yeah, Mr. Salenza, you want to be quiet, right?
Your Honor, the state recommends a $2,500 bond. This is an F5, and given the circumstances and the allegations, the defendant's presence needs to be ensured.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Catalisa, I'm inclined to release Mr. Salenza to pretrial services. Do you need to make a record?
No, Your Honor, that was my ask.
Okay, I'm going to release Mr. Salenza to pretrial services supervision. He's due submit monitoring and treatment as directed by pretrial services. Listen up, listen up. If you don't listen, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to hold on to you because I'm going to stop talking. If you don't listen and you give me attitude, the message you're sending me is not only am I going to give this guy attitude, but I'm going to give every judge along the line attitude, and I'm not going to show up, and the warrants are going to issue, and it's going to be a problem. Mr. Salenza, I'd rather you leave the jail tonight. I really want that to happen, and hopefully maybe you get some help. I'm not being mean. I feel bad for you. Okay, so just hear me out. All right. Okay. I'm going to release you to pretrial services supervision. You to follow all monitoring and treatment as directed by pretrial services. No alcohol or illegal drugs, no firearms or weapons, surrender any that you do have. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Your next hearing is a preliminary hearing on January 7, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. That date's going to change. I can almost guarantee you. So it's very important you do two things. You keep in touch with your public defender, and you keep in touch with the representative from pretrial services. Now, that's a tall order. Can you do all that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. You're going to get all this in writing. You'll be released a little later on tonight. Make sure you be careful. All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You take care.
You as well, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Neil, Antea, good seeing you both. Take care. Good night. Thank you at the jail. Smooth as silk as always.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good evening, Your Honor.
At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 give something from nothing. I sit here looking for an answer. Maybe the biggest question was in the last chapter.